Doodly-doo. There's no skin off my back. Okay, we're calling Hoss right now for the first episode of the podcast. How's it going, Hoss?
Well, hello.
Hello. Do you mind?
Sound just muffled. What'd you say?
Do you mind recording your screen and then sending it to me so I can make it look cool for a video on YouTube?
Oh wait, what do you want me? Could you repeat that?
Do you have screen recording ability?
Oh yeah, no, I can record my screen.
Okay, because I want to.
Oh, no, wait. Oh, you mean like screen share?
No. Like just record your face so I can put us together in the YouTube video. You know what I mean?
Okay, but do you mean like you want me to record a video of myself and send it to you, or just turn my camera on?
You turn your camera on, but I like, so you see me on stream. I can't put you on stream because I don't know how. So if you took a video of, if you screen recorded your like face this entire time, I could put us together in the video, the episode 1 of the podcast. Also, Bungus, thank you for redeeming your Binguses.
Wait, okay, hold on. So you want me to record a video of myself?
While we're doing this, yes.
So you just want me to stream this?
You can if you want to.
Alright, you know what? Hold on, let me just fire up stream elements really quickly.
Oh, use stream elements, cool.
Great.
Streamlabs sucks dick, but it's the only one that I can use right now.
Yeah. Huh? Oh, there it is. Get my camera acting weird for a sec. Why am I wide? I don't remember leaving it like this. Shit.
Wide boy.
Don't you just hate when that happens? You just leave yourself wide.
Yeah, you get spontaneously wide. Just in walking down the street.
Yeah. Alright. Keep him entertained. I'm busy.
Well, according to Toxicity Bungus, I'm not entertaining, so.
Fuck you, Toxicity Bungus.
I was playing my BRB and he's like, "You suck." So. But that's alright. I told him I'm not gonna change. So, that's that.
Electric Boogaloo. And... Okay, I think I am live right now.
Nice.
I am live.
If you are using OBS, you can just full screen the Discord call and window capture it. Yeah, but I don't want to. It's too much.
He's too lazy.
Yeah. We don't do.
I'm lazy too, so I'm not claiming superiority here.
we don't prioritize being prepared or knowing how to do things. So.
You think this isn't the Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah, for real. We don't know what we're doing. We're just here to chill.
This is the Joe podcast.
Yeah. The bro Dogan. The Ro Jogan podcast.
Ro Jogan. Okay, dude.
Oh man. I want to put on some tunes, but I don't know if I should. I'm not going to. Job Rogan. Yes.
I can send you some. I can send you some copyright-free stuff I have.
Well, no, it's because when I have to have the audio desktop audio capture loud enough so it'll pick up you.
So you're having a hard time like mixing the sounds, basically.
Yeah, like I said, we don't know what we're doing here. So, but yeah, this is the first. I mean, Trainwrecks has the Scuffed podcast, but if you're looking for a real Scuffed podcast, come here.
Yeah, we're more scuffed than he'll ever be.
Yeah.
I love Train, but he ain't scuffed enough. You know, I loved him when he did that rant against the e-girls, you know, we will not lose to the e-girl, and then he just became a pussy. He pulled that out. What kind of bullshit is this? What is this? Where's the revolution, motherfuckers?
Yeah,
I'm
man.
not seeing a revolution. I see a de-evolution. we not becoming humans. We going back to monkeys.
We're becoming
Yeah,
monkeys.
I like monkeys. Yeah, I mean, I like monkeys, but I don't want to be one.
Yeah.
They throw shit at each other. It's nasty.
That's true. That is true.
I mean, if you're into that, I guess. But like,
I mean,
no.
Yeah, well, that being, you know, 2 girls, 1 cup, but we don't need to get into that.
Ever seen swap.avi?
No, thank you.
Don't.
I don't even, like, it went, what you just said went in one ear, not the other. So we're gonna keep it that way.
Yeah, we're getting.
So how you doing today,
what's
Hoss?
up, Carp? I'm doing pretty good. What's up, Carpo?
Oh, Carpo's in your stream, huh? I see.
Yeah. He's mine, alright?
Mm.
Listen here, Carpo. If we have to do a tug of war with your dick and balls, I am going to win. That's the end of the story.
I'm gonna use
I
my
won my
mouth.
junior year tug of war, and I'm gonna win this one.
I'll use my mouth.
You lose your mouth. All right. You know what, just for that,
Alrighty then.
I'm sticking the toothbrush on my mic.
Oh no, please don't.
I did it.
Damn.
I don't know if I'm gonna use it, but it's there now. You're responsible for this.
Oh,
This is
no.
your fault.
I'm sorry.
This is your fault.
I didn't mean to. You did this!
Ow. Alright, so, shall we jump straight into the topics we talked about, or you just want to dick around a little bit more?
Well, how about... Sure. Okay, so what's the first thing you want to start up with? We talked about a couple things. A couple
Well,
topics.
we only talked about 2 topics, didn't we?
Hence the
Talked
term
about-
a couple. Pretty sure that's what that means.
Okay, grammar Nazi.
But we talked about wrestling,
Wrestling,
and we
yeah.
talked about our favorite video games.
Video games. That's
And
right.
honestly,
Okay.
I think we should start with favorite video games,
Favorite
and I
video
want
game.
you to start, if you don't mind.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with talking about the first game. That one of the first games I played. It was also one of the first games Drew played, which is Kirby's Dream Land for the DS Lite. That was one of the first. That was the first game that I ever got my paws on. Me and Drew have known each other for a very long time.
You know, that's fine. So, if I could interject for a second, I was not super active on the DS, even though my brother did own one,
Mhm.
and I still have one that my sister had. But so 2 things I want to mention. The first game I ever had was, I believe, also on the DS, although, yeah, pretty much. It was Carpo, thank you for the host. But the first game I really remember playing was the Super Mario 64 remake on DS. Do you know about that? Yeah, that one. I don't remember much about it. The thing I really remember, and that's the second thing I want to talk about, I actually broke my brother's first DS.
Oh no!
No joke. I snapped that shit in half because I was a fucking baby. Which is do not give your handhelds, particularly if they're a clamshell, do not, because we will it just broke. I still have one half of it, like, somewhere around here.
Yeah, they can.
Oh wait, hold on. I have it right here. Hold on. Wait.
His name is Hoss.
Ow,
He's a
my knee.
co-host.
What'd you say?
Bungus asked who you were, and I answered.
My name is Hoss the boss, the man himself.
Yes, he's
But,
the co-host of the podcast.
Every time I see this, and the funny thing is, you can still, if you press power, it just gets a flash of a white screen. So that's kind of funny.
That's rough.
But sorry for diverting. Tell me more about this Kirby's Dream Land.
Kirby's Dream Land for the DS Lite. Not even just the original. It was the smaller.
Exclusive to the DS Lite.
The smaller version. What?
Exclusive to the DS Lite, or?
No. It was just the DS Lite was what I played on, and
I have the DS Lite too. This is my brother got the first edition of DS, is like the fat ones, and honestly, I probably saved him a favor because apparently these things like they broke on like the top would just like fall off because it was so heavy and bulky.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this thing; it's chunkier than me, dude. It's chunkier than me.
That's saying
I'm
a
chunky
lot.
as fuck.
Yeah, man.
Come on, just listen to how loud this sounds. Jesus
Jeez, that's a brick.
That's a it's pretty close to a brick, honestly. It's not maybe in weight, but like in size and weight width, it's basically the same. Anyway, Kirby's Dream Land.
Kirby's Dream Land. Oh, Carpo.
Nice car.
Thank you for the follow. Who is Hossdosboss?
Before.
Not sure, man.
It's
yeah,
me.
Me and Drew would play it all the time. It was like it was almost an obsession. There was a time I remember where like every kid did this. You know, you go to bed and then you pull out your DS
And you bring in your handheld and you play it all night.
Play it all night, just covered up in your little blankets. That's what me and Drew did.
Funny story. I had a 2DS. You know, the flat version of the 3DS.
That is, yeah. I would always
think about that one. It had a proper headphone mic, and let's just say there was many a nights up on that bad boy. Oh, who's that? What is this? Yo, Bungus, Toxicity Bungus has followed me.
Nice. Maybe he'll like your content more than mine.
Honestly, I've been slacking on the streams lately. I've been so fucking lazy recently. But anyway, so what are you got any like good memories of Kirby's Dream Land besides any stories? It was
real good when, because me and Drew, we would switch off, and it was the best feeling because it was also the first game that we completed.
That's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. That had some good memories with the little Kirby music and him flying off into the sunset and was like, we did it! Yeah.
You did it.
You did it.
Nice going, you dumb shit.
But mainly, you know, favorite games, I don't, that's my first, I'm just talking about the first game, but, you know, favorite games, I don't have a specific one, but I do have like lists that change every so often. And right now at the top of the list, it's Oblivion. Elder Scrolls 4.
Oblivion, really?
Yeah.
I cannot speak on Oblivion. I have not played it yet. I've barely even played Skyrim.
Skyrim is.
So
the thing is about Skyrim and Fallout 4. They have especially with Skyrim. One of the DLCs that comes with the what's it called? The special edition is one where you can build a house. You can build houses and you can put things in it.
I heard about that.
I've always liked that. That's why Minecraft when we were young was very very appealing because it's a sandbox game. It kind of
but the thing. Okay, here's the thing with Minecraft. It's fully dedicated to the build your own house, build your own neighborhood, build whatever, and even the Sims, like decorate your house, make a living, make money. Whereas with like games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, they're not really built around that. They're more so built around like going on quests, like the gameplay, storytelling. Yeah. They're not really too focused on that kind of stuff. So
but the thing is why I rank them so highly in my list is because of the fact that, you know, it's really, to me at least, really good stories, really compelling gameplay, and then the fact that I get to build. I love building. So any game that can...
Raise your hand if you were a fan of Legos as a child.
I just raised my
Really,
hand.
that's yes, you're supposed to raise your fucking hand.
I did.
Well, okay then.
I actually have. Me and Drew have plans to build Legos on stream for Star Wars Mondays.
Yeah, you know what you should do? You should make your next donation goal the Lego Death Star.
I don't have a space to put it, but I would love to have it. That would be.
You find a place.
That would be so sick.
It would be incredible. I remember looking on that thing at the Lego website and just being like, $300.
Yeah, it's expensive.
God damn. Man, but let me tell you, you can wear Carpo said you can wear it as a hat.
The dust.
It wouldn't be any more ridiculous than what you're already wearing, so it wouldn't be too outlandish.
No. Chill. Chill.
It really is impressive what they do with that, though. What was I gonna say? Like, even as a kid, I would watch. Okay, did you ever watch Ninjago?
Yes, of course I did.
My man, my brother.
My brother.
I found. Oh my god! So I was looking through old family photos, right? Hear me out.
Okay.
And I found an old photo of myself, and it's just me, my brother, and my dad, and I'm wearing a Ninjago shirt in it, which dates it to fucking hell.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel old when we're only 19, but
I'm 18, so you're older than I am.
I'm a grandpa.
Grandpa. Get your ass out of here talking about Oblivion. Everyone knows.
Hey, I didn't play Oblivion when it came out. I just recently started playing Oblivion, so back off.
Oh, fair enough. But you mentioned Fallout 4.
Fallout 4, yes. It's not my favorite Fallout game, but it definitely is a good one, at least to me. New Vegas is where it's at, though.
See, now we're talking.
But the thing is that
now,
if New Vegas, if what Fallout 4, if what they did with New Vegas in storytelling, they did with Fallout 4 would be a masterpiece. Just saying.
Because Fallout 4's story was, I'm sorry, it was just, it wasn't even terrible. It was just boring.
Yeah,
It was Fallout 3 but role reversed, and then on top of that, your son, he ain't even that interesting.
That is true. I'm gonna be honest. The only thing I remember about the story is that when you find your son in the Institute, he's
an old man.
He's an old man. That's honestly.
On top of that, the factions in that game, like what is that? There's Brotherhood of Steel,
yes,
which we've seen them multiple times already.
Minutemen.
Second of all, there's the Minutemen who won't stop giving you fucking quests. And they're not really that interesting and don't have that much depth outside of we're the good guys. Yeah. And that's about it.
I think the railroad is the worst.
Yeah, because it's first the Institute isn't even really that interesting to begin with. That I mean, what's their appeal? What's like the Legion? The Legion, they were genocidal. They were murderers. They were awful people. But their leader was like this philosophical dude who was soft-spoken. And on top of that, it made sense in their world, and the story of the Legion was interesting. The Institute? What am I? Science.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the mentality of the Institute and the Legion are the same, because they both think that what they're doing is for the betterment of everybody else, when in reality, probably them running the show would be a bad idea. I always think, when I think about when I think about big groups of like a clan in any kind of game that has shown to be against human interest, but at the end of the day claims to be the good guys. It just reminds me of World War II, and the, the Nazis also thought that they were the good guys.
Yeah, even Hitler thought he was doing the right thing.
Yeah. So that's what that's what I think of the Institute. Although that they're not as obviously they're not as bad as the Nazis. I don't think anything can come close to that level, but I do believe that there can be a connection made.
Can I say one more thing about the Institute?
Sure.
So I'm also going to bring up Detroit in this argument. So I've noticed a trend recently where like writers try and compare humans. They try and civil rights movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Underground Railroad, fucking black people struggled. I don't need to. We probably know that. What I don't like is when writers try and make it seem like it's a genius idea to compare civil rights issues to robots' rights issues. And if you want proof, the Institute is a pretty good example of how bad that can go. But an even better example is Detroit Become Human.
Well,
and
yeah,
I've played through that game. It's fine. The gameplay is whatever. But what really kills me is when they try and like compare the two, because they're not the same. Civil rights movement was different because those were actual people who were being abused. But robots' rights, they're robots.
Yeah,
it's not comparable. Simple as that.
I agree. The thing with the Institute, though, the Institute never sees their robots as humans. They've made it. They make that very clear. The railroad is who views the robots as free or humans. The thing about Detroit Become Human, though, I liked it. I always like games that have a true, like, your actions matter. I always like those kind of games, going all the way back to Beyond Two Souls and whatnot.
Even New Vegas had that too.
It did. The pure role playing. You decide how shit goes. I think that Detroit Become Human had the most interesting explanation for why these androids were becoming sentient. And that's because it's an error in the code. They're not actually sentient. It's an error in the code of that the whatever his name is. I forget his name. The guy who made it. No, the guy the founder of CyberLife. Do you remember his name?
Oh, it was like Elijah or Eli or something like that.
Something like that. The guy who had all the Android hotties in his pool, and blood pool,
tried to get Connor tried to get Connor to shoot one of them to get information. You could choose not to, or if you choose did, shit like that. Continue.
No, it's I think that, and there's some theories going around on Reddit that the fact that the interaction that you have with Eli when you go to his place seems like he was implying that he put in code to make them act like this. That they're not actually becoming sentient, but that it was the ploy from the beginning.
Okay, that is interesting, but that also kind of brings up the question of how narratively how is it supposed to be interesting? Because now it's just about robots having an error. And that's about it.
Well, they even kind of dabble in that explanation with between Hope and Marcus. They talk about how, in certain things, in certain like dialogue lines that you can go through, they talk about how that they realize that they're not actually, sentient, but it's the as close as they can get to actually having human feelings. I feel like the story of Detroit Become Human is just, if robots feel things, it is okay to abuse them. That's interesting. I don't know if If robots feel things, is it okay to abuse them? Yeah. But even Marcus and Hope themselves said that they understand that they don't actually have the ability to feel like humans have the ability to feel. It's not them learning new things, it's them programming to know everything. It's their program to know everything already. They can't.
I mean,
AI can't teach itself. That's just.
You just described it perfect. I don't even know what to say. You just described that perfectly.
Thank you. AI in real life can't learn on its own. It's programmed to know what to do from the get-go. So, saying that these androids are becoming living, breathing, emotional beings is
no, they're not. They're just getting new programming.
Is false. Yeah, they're just the like the clones in Star Wars. The clones in Star Wars, when they initiated Order 66, it's just a new protocol.
Wait, I thought weren't the clones weren't they just clones of other people? That's
they
not
were
really a robot. That's just a
no. I'm just saying that the flip of the switch. Something was put in place. Hi, Pratham. How you doing? Something was put in place, but either by Eli or by someone else that Eli worked with in Detroit, that activates this new little trigger that makes the robots quote unquote come alive. And in Star Wars,
that would be the the other lady was the black lady, the one who talked to Connor in like the visions or whatever in like the garden. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
It could have been her.
Yeah, it could have been before she died. Yeah, that's definitely possible.
Definitely possible.
But what I'm saying with the clones is like, they hear the trigger word, execute Order 66, and it snaps, and new protocols, new directions are taking place in their mind. So that's basically kind of the same thing, I think, at least with Detroit, which doesn't make it any more or less interesting, but it does have, in my opinion, the best explanation for how androids could rise up.
Yeah.
The clones are not robots. I know that, but I'm just talking about an event or a trigger that makes them do a new protocol. That's all I mean.
So, it was funny. For a second, I looked up Fallout 4 factions. I was like, oh, there's got to be more than that, right? But nope, it's just those 4.
Yeah, it really is.
And compare that to Fallout New Vegas. How many factions were in New Vegas? Mr. House. Well, okay, Mr. House wasn't a but we're talking like things you could like really do. Okay, maybe not a ton. There was Mr. House. You could go with Yes Man. There was the Legion. There was NCR. There was also in one of the DLCs you can get an ending where you just unleash like a toxin across the wasteland and just end everybody.
That's crazy. You can also join the Brotherhood.
Could you? Well, yeah, but you couldn't get like a game end with the Brotherhood. You couldn't like get a final ending with them, is what I'm saying. But even like those guys were so. But even like the smaller factions who don't have like end game import. Okay, I mean like end game importance in the sense that
like each casino on the strip.
Like the casino, you have the White Glove Society. You have the guys at the tops, which aren't super deep, but they have character.
Yeah.
There's the Omertas at Gamora. And then on Freeside Freeside has the Kings.
Yep.
And that brings up an interesting because they're like kind of anti-NCR, even they're like near one of the biggest NCR centric places.
Yeah, we're talking about like different things different people that you can interact with. I believe you can do things with the Crimson Caravan and
oh yeah, Crimson Caravan too. But they're more so like just an extension of the NCR though.
Are they?
Because if you do, yeah, pretty much. Because if you do something good for Crimson Caravan, you get NCR reputation. So.
Oh, okay.
And then like outside of Vegas, there's Jesus. I mean, fucking the Boomers.
Yeah, you can get a lot of reputations with a lot of different. Like each settlement, you can get a reputation with.
the Powder Gangers. The Powder Gangers actually, I feel, are a bit of an underrated faction in my opinion.
I didn't do much with them. What I did with them was what a lot of people would do at their first playthrough: absolutely annihilate them, because your mind automatically goes to, okay, well, there's this gang of people terrorizing a helpless town. You're gonna help them. You know, that's just that.
But you can at least choose to side with them. Like, you can help them keep the prison. You can help, like, kill them. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
and even then, there's
you can take over Good Springs right from the get-go. That's really cool.
There's even do you know about the Vault 19 Powder Ganger quest?
No, but tell me.
So basically, Vault 19, a bunch of the Powder Ganger, who basically, the guys who started the riot that helped kick off the Powder Ganger faction, basically, like, help them take over the prison. They all left to try and, like, go find something else, I guess. And the leader of it, the guy who originally did the entire riot, wants to gather stuff from the vault to try and like, just cause terror across the wasteland for the NCR. I think that's how it went. But most of the other guys are like, dude, let's stop being Powder Gangers. Let's just go do something else. Let's just live in peace. And he's like, no, I don't want to. I want to go raise some shit. So then you have a choice where you can actually, like, there's two things you can do. So there's a sulfur cave below the vault, and you have the choice of either killing all the geckos and leaving the cave there for the guy who started the riot. Actually, should I look up? No, I don't have time. But the guy who started the riot. Or you could set some C4 and blow up the cave, so now they can't, like, make more explosives and cause more trouble for the NCR. So now the guy who wanted to cause trouble, he's not a worry anymore. And now they have the power, because now that the explosives are gone, everyone's just like, well, guess we're just gonna be peaceful now. And then even farther than that, if you can actually, oh, sorry, my toothbrush fell. But after that you can choose to leave them alone and just leave them in the vault, or you can go to the Great Khans and try and convince the Great Khans to take the Powder Ganger, to take the basically just, what would good word be? Abandoned Powder Gang? No, runaway Powder Gangers. Basically, take in the runaway Powder Gangers.
The deserters.
As members of the... Yeah, deserters. The Powder Ganger deserters as members. I pressed my mute button for a second.
There's a... Are the Powder Gangers... What are the well, what are they called? They're like feral kind of they're feral humans. They're like cannibals. There's a.
Wait, are you talking about the ghouls?
No. When you go on your, let's say you're at the Gunrunner's little kiosk, and then from the Gunrunners you go to the Red Canyon, and there's this junkyard. Yeah. And you go into it, and there's a vault in there. The fiends, I think they're called fiends. They're cannibals, and they take over a vault. Can you do anything with them?
Wait, you're talking about Vault 3?
I think so.
Okay, so with Vault 3, I believe, so you can't become friends with them. I think that might have been planned at one point, but, you know, Bethesda didn't let Obsidian finish with the development, so, because there is, like, cut content of you being able to talk to the fiend leaders, so it might have been a thing. But no, you can only fight the fiends, but you can become friendly with them through either through smooth talking the lady at the front door, or you can go to the Red Rock Canyon, talk to the Great Khans, and do a drug run for Motor Runner, and who is one of the leaders, like the main leader of the fiends.
Yeah, I started that course. I never finished it though.
Yeah, so when you do that, you can actually go in there. You can talk to most of them, and it's really funny because there's even like a small thing where you can like free some people. And one of the funny things is you can go down there, deliver the drugs. One thing I always do is I always like go in there and I just like, okay, hear me out. So stealth kills in New Vegas are really easy. I'm not gonna lie. So what I do is I always like stealth kill as many fiends as I can, and then once I get down to Motor Runner, I just let bash that bitch in the head, after doing the drug run. So it's like killing two birds with one stone. I finished the drug run quest, and then I take care of him, and I finished the quest involving killing all the fiend leaders.
Right.
And on top of that, there's a bunch of good shit in that vault. And on top of that, I get to free some motherfuckers who are trapped in there. So it's a nice little bonus, it all comes together. It's three birds, three birds, no stones, baby. I punched those birds. I punched the shit out of those birds. Fuck those birds. They stole my fries at the boardwalk. Sorry.
Since we're on the topic of Bethesda games, I want to dive into a little bit of ESO.
Okay, before you do that, okay. I just want to bring one. So I looked up the Vault 19 quest, and just want to remember the names. And there is actually one other thing you can do in that quest.
Okay.
Once you get the option of planting the C4, you can actually plant enough C4 if you have enough skill in C4 to get this. Blow up the whole fucking vault and just kill all of them. Just blow up the whole thing, and so if you want to blow up a whole vault, there you go.
Nice.
Your fantasy is fulfilled. Monka has a lot of pent-up aggression for birds. Could you not tell from what I just said, Carpo?
Yeah, birds are dicks. Or at least they can be. Anyways, how much? So you said that you didn't even really play Skyrim that much, so I'm assuming you don't have much.
Okay, what I mean by that is, sorry, did I interrupt? We'll just.
I'm assuming you don't have much experience with ESO, Elder Scrolls Online.
No.
No.
No, I've never played the Elder Scrolls Online. But the farthest I got in Skyrim was, I guess, basically. Where did I get? I got to like, where's the city with the Thieves Guild?
Riften.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was Rift, and there's like two rival families or something like that.
Yes, I'm aware. It's Riften. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it was. I got as far as Riften, and I don't know if I was just bored, but I already had too much on my plate, but I was just like, oh, I'm good.
There's a lot to do. Definitely. Yeah. I think, especially with the 3 DLCs that Skyrim has, there's definitely a lot of content. I would love to see how long a 100 speed run of it would be. It would probably be very long.
It'd be longer. It'd probably be longer than a Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, and get this. Okay, hear me out. There's one more ending to that quest, to the Powder Kinger's quest I didn't mention.
Okay. So
when I mentioned to form an alliance between the Great Khans, there is actually one other option to have them surrender to the NCR, which isn't a huge thing, but I thought was kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Especially interesting to think about, because if you go with the, if you help the NCR in taking back over the correctional facility, and it kind of makes you wonder, man, wouldn't it be funny if the guy who helped lead that if the guys who helped break out of the prison go back in the prison? That's just hilarious. Because when you raid the prison with the NCR, I believe you just no prisoners taken, boom, kill all of them.
Bing, bop, bye, bop, boom.
Hey, make a face on stream. Make a funny face. I got it. Cool. Just trying to get a thumbnail picture if you're alright with that.
No problem.
Cool.
What's up, Bort Slampson?
Bort Slampson.
You know him?
No, that's just an amazing name.
English as a second language, ESO. Shut up. Shut up. I know English.
I know.
I don't know.
English. No.
No habla español. Jesus.
Yes. So what did you want to talk about with wrestling? I mean, I'm interested in what you wanted to talk about with that.
First things first, what's your experience with wrestling as a whole? Me and Drew's friends a long time ago
had a bunch of action figures, and they had a whole like
Hold
setup.
up. 1 second. Hold that thought.
Oh, here we go.
Hold that thought,
Here we go.
John Cena. My toothbrush fell again. Wait, hold on. Wait.
John Cena was too much for the toothbrush. Yeah, but they had a lot of action figures. They had whole
Dude, it's in a box in the room over, man. I have a whole ring.
Yeah, they have
I have
rings.
a Hulk Hogan. I have an old NWO Hulk Hogan figure that is incredibly disformed because I wrote Sharpie marker all over it because I wanted him to look blacker. I guess I don't know. I've got 2 Rey Mysterios. I have 2 Rey Mysterios
Nice.
for no reason. I think it was a Christmas thing going on where like I got a bundle or something. I don't remember. But either way, continue.
Yeah, I never actually really sat
You know
down.
what? Fuck it. I'm giving up on the toothbrush.
I never actually sat down and watched anything. I've watched some things. I've never been an avid fan, but I am aware of wrestling, or at least WWE.
You want to see where it's really at? There's a promotion called AEW that's been getting pretty good. It's not huge, but it's getting close to the level of like, okay, not close to the level, but it's people talk about it a lot in the wrestling world. People even say it's a direct competition, which I don't even agree with that. But the only issue is that the only way you can watch it is okay. Do you have any kind of cable TV?
Yes.
Oh, do you have I believe it would be TNT?
TNT. You mean
Yeah.
AT&T?
No, TNT.
TNT. That's just a channel, right?
Yeah, it's a TV channel, and that's
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
AEW is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hold that. Carpo clipped it in and said, "Hold that thought."
That's funny.
See, this is when I need good clippers in my. How else am I supposed to grow?
True. No, I don't get many clippers in here either.
Except for me.
Yeah, I think Bradley has done some. We've got Bungus in chat. I don't think he's here right now, but he has some opinions about the stream.
Yeah, well, that's Bungus for you. Always having an opinion. Anyway, so you said you never watched much wrestling. Do you mean like you never watched a show weekly, or you only caught like a few episodes every now and then? Or, like,
it was if it was on kind of thing.
Was there any reason for that?
It just never interested me that much, but like cause it was never really a secret that it was staged. I'm not saying it's any less entertaining, but that's what it is. It's a show. It's a show.
But did you watch the video I sent you last night?
Oh shit, I was going to. We can watch it on stream.
You want to do that?
Yeah, sure. We can do that. Oh, that's a lot of minutes.
Do you still want to do it, or do you want to call it off?
No, we can do it. Yeah. Let's react to it together. I don't think since okay, so I'll put it here. It doesn't have any copyright stuff.
No, we're fine.
Okay, cool. All right. We're looking at a picture of SpongeBob right now.
It'll make sense in a second.
Never Ever, I talked about the appeal of SpongeBob.
Okay,
I
just
like
need to
SpongeBob,
figure out how to
and it's
capture
not
my
difficult
screen
to
first, and
explain
then
why I like SpongeBob,
No.
because everybody likes SpongeBob. Professional wrestling is a bit of a different story. When I say names like Ric Flair, Randy
hold on,
Savage,
keep
Hulk
on entertained.
Hogan, and Andre the Giant,
trying.
most of you can probably picture a vague figure in your
Trying to make
heads,
this hard.
but you can't specifically tell who I'm talking about. Why is this? Well, the answer is professional wrestling is one of the most popular and unpopular forms of entertainment on Earth. Trying to justify to people why I enjoy watching professional wrestling is like trying to justify why manatees haven't gone extinct. On the surface, it just looks so dumb and awkward and makes you wonder how something like it could even exist, and more importantly, how it continues to exist.
Is what?
Are you already watching it?
Yeah, I'm already watching it.
Well, shit.
I thought
Start over.
Okay. Okay, here we go. We're gonna press
On the count
start a
of 3.
Yeah, okay. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
In the first episode of Never Ever, I talked about the appeal of SpongeBob. I like SpongeBob, and it's not difficult to explain why I like SpongeBob because everybody likes SpongeBob. Professional wrestling is
Except
a bit
for
of a
moms.
different story. When I say names like Ric
What'd you say?
Flair,
Except for
Randy
moms.
Savage,
Everybody
Hulk
likes SpongeBob
Hogan,
except
and
for
Andre the
moms.
Giant,
Yeah.
most of you can probably picture a vague figure in your heads, but you can't specifically tell who I'm talking about. Why is this? Well, the answer is professional wrestling is one of the most popular and unpopular forms of entertainment on Earth. Trying to
true.
justify to people why I enjoy watching professional wrestling is like trying to justify why manatees haven't gone extinct. On the surface, it just looks
They're so
dumb
chunky.
and awkward and makes you wonder how something like it could even exist, and more importantly, how it continues to exist. Now, I'll admit, the idea of watching half-naked, oily, buff dudes pretending to beat each other up doesn't exactly sound like the most entertaining thing in the world. But that's kind of what makes it so amazing. Because despite its weird premise and clumsy appearance, professional wrestling fosters the capacity for emotional storytelling that can compel an arena of stoic adults to jump out of their seats and scream like little kids.
Sunset flip!
Woo!
Music to my
Believe
ears.
me? Well, then you probably haven't watched an episode of Monday Night Raw.
I would watch that every once in a while.
JR. Monday WF. Raw.
When did it become WWE?
Around 2002, because the Worldwide some it had something, like the two pandas. It's like it's like animal helping. They had WWF as their thing, and there's a lawsuit, and they won, so they had to change it to WWE. Complicated.
Oh man, you got me. Professional wrestling is not, in fact, a real athletic competition. There's no getting around that. I guess I have to end the video here because pro wrestling isn't real.
It's still real to me, damn it!
It's still real to me, damn it.
But whether it's Star Wars, or the Avengers, or Goku, or Homer Simpson, or any character in Super Smash
Why was he green?
none of these things are real. However, it doesn't stop people from talking about them far more than they do a lot of real things. And in order to truly appreciate the rhetorical
Drone strikes.
you must treat it as it really is, a work of fiction. But not
A
just
work
any
of fiction.
Pro wrestling is one of the last remaining bastions of theater. Now, like a lot of
Theater.
you, I went to public school, where many of you can probably remember multiple times in English class when you had to learn about this guy called Bill Shakespeare, considered by many
Bill
scholars
Shakespeare.
the greatest
I remember that guy.
player of all time. And for so many years, I didn't get the appeal. I don't think anyone else did either. The only types of people in school who actually seemed to care about Shakespeare were the future MIT grad who memorized every piece of trivia ever, or the kid who was way too into theater. I never realized the value of Shakespeare until I discovered the treasure trove of old pro wrestling clips on YouTube.
Oh. Dude.
Okay, this is epic.
And only
This is
Okay,
epic.
Pause for a second.
Pausing.
I want to explain. Okay. Yo, there's not even much to explain. I just want us to take a second to appreciate that.
What about it exactly?
Nothing. Just because the thing is, he didn't mean to do that. It just came out.
He didn't mean.
That guy, his name is Booker T, great wrestler. and he said in multiple interviews like it just came out of his mouth.
Well, you're in the heat of the
Best
moment,
thing.
man. I understand that.
Yeah, all right, back to the video.
Back the video. Play.
Shakespeare in 7th grade English is so boring because the content is not meant to be consumed through words on paper. Shakespearean plays flourished during a time before the majority of people knew how to read.
Majority.
Playwrights
That
and
is,
actors had
I've
to craft
never heard that word
narrative performances
pronounced
using
like
the
that.
limited tools they had. If you boil it down, the genre of theater mostly involves a bunch of weird people in stupid costumes prancing around and over-embellishing in iambic pentameter. Theatrical entertainment doesn't come from what's literally happening on stage. The value of theater comes from filling in the blanks using our imagination. This fundamental principle is otherwise known as the suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief.
This image, your
Yes.
brain doesn't automatically interpret it as some guy called Mark Hamill holding a blue stick. When you see this image, you see Luke Skywalker holding a lightsaber.
Yes.
Neither of which are
I agree.
actually real. Suspension of
Luke
disbelief
Skywalker
allows us
real.
to accept beyond what's literally happening on screen. It allows us to experience a story and its characters as real, no matter how simple the presentation. This same principle applies to novels, comic books, musical lyrics, cartoons, movies, and yes, professional wrestling. Visual storytelling is an inherently human art form, and people have been performing stories for audiences for thousands of years, dating all the way back to the earliest known auditoriums of ancient Greece, where citizens would gather around and listen to an esteemed orator recite the works of Homer.
I'm so angry I could spit flames out of my butt.
Homer Simpson versus Lisa Simpson.
What is this?
It should go
The
without
Simpsons
saying that
wrestling,
the
it's terrible.
1990s
Oh my god, why are they
very
green?
different from 6th century BC Greece. 3,000 years ago, people really didn't have that much stuff to drown out the entertainment value of a guy standing on a platform and just talking to the audience. The 1990s was the birth of a new era of screens.
Oh god.
Television, video games, huge blockbuster movies.
Wait, is he making them green because of copyright?
Millennium was rapidly
Yeah, for
approaching.
copyright.
That's so fucking stupid, dude.
Futuristic,
Yeah.
technocratic, utopian future of the 2000s by surrounding themselves with the newest, coolest gadgets of the age. You'd expect
Radical!
all these new entertainment sources wouldn't leave much room for little old theater, and you'd probably be right if it weren't for professional wrestling. From about 1996 to 2001, professional wrestling
Okay,
became one
pause
of
for a
the most
second.
inescapable cornerstones of American.
Paused.
I actually, funny story, I actually mostly fall in love with wrestling because of video games, actually. Like, some of my favorite, I have most of the SmackDown versus Raw series, like, right behind me on my shelf.
Nice.
Like, before I really got into watching wrestling, I mostly loved playing wrestling video games. And I think those are important. They're not important for this video, I just wanted to bring those up, kind of.
That makes sense. There's a lot of things I used to play with as a kid that I didn't know was from something else first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have an exact example, but yeah, I feel it.
I know what you mean.
In entertainment. And in order to understand why, we must first talk about a guy by the name of Vince McMahon.
It's me, Austin!
It was me all along.
Also, Vince McMahon is a
Vince
fucking
McMahon
piece of
started
shit
out
in
with
real life.
nothing. He was trapped in a dirt-poor household with an abusive stepfather. Today he's worth about $3.5 billion, which is a little bit more than Donald Trump. It should be noted that this disparity hasn't prevented the two from being friends, which is the primary reason why Vince's wife Linda is currently in the executive cabinet of the United States. Perhaps Vince and Donald are
Not
such good
anymore.
friends because they have so much in common.
See ya.
The two billionaires were born just 10 months apart.
Get the fuck out of here, Mr. Trump, you piece of shit.
But through ruthless business acumen.
Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second.
What's up?
Trump getting banned from Twitter is probably the funniest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, he brought it on himself.
He really did, but I mean, one, it's like Twitter, too little, too late. Also, you refuse to take child porn off your website, which is a little
That's a
sus.
good point.
which is a little sus. But hey, at least they took off Orange Man Bad.
Orangutan Bat. That, you know,
Or
can I
Orangutan
honestly say,
Monkey.
I hate how most of the comedy nowadays is either haha relatable or Orangutan Bad.
Orange Man Bad.
And if you and how a lot of people consider edgy edgy jokes just not be fun. Like, you don't have to find edgy jokes funny, but like you have to accept that it exists, and some people find it funny. Like, that's what I find funny. I find a lot of edgy jokes funny. Like,
Yeah.
am I bad for doing that? What am I supposed to do? Just laugh at those kinds of jokes?
I'm gonna bring.
Sorry, sir.
I'm gonna bring it up again. Some people find me funny. Toxicity Bungus doesn't find me funny, apparently, but hey, other people do. So, there's that.
Who cares?
Who cares? You're obviously not my core audience.
Yeah. Alright, back to the vid.
Yep. And go.
That ultimately failed, and both of them built empires by transforming businesses that they inherited from their fathers. In Vince McMahon's case, he reunited with his father, Vince McMahon Sr., at the age of 12.
Is that a
Vince
reference
Sr. owned the
constant?
Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and
What?
Vince took a
it's somewhere in my
managerial
chat.
position at the company.
I don't find you funny, and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Oh yeah, that's a Stone Cold reference.
Okay.
By the mid 1980s, Vince Sr. had passed away.
Const-
and Vince
Constant, though,
McMahon
he
was
finds me
now
funny.
in charge of a booming wrestling empire.
I know that.
Over the past decade, McMahon had completely overhauled the territorial system of the pro wrestling industry and transformed the WWF into a nationally recognized brand. In the 80s, the WWF experienced their first great boom period. Vince's ambitious business ventures like WrestleMania brought professional wrestling into the American pay-per-view market and transformed stars like Hulk Hogan into national icons. The WWF's huge success in the late 80s quickly began to recede in the early 90s, however. This was due to a multitude of reasons, ranging from a waning audience, Hulk Hogan departing for Hollywood, and a massive steroid controversy that almost sent Vince to prison, coupled with other failed experiments such as the World Bodybuilding Federation. It's safe to say that by 1993, Vince was in dire need of a new enterprise. It was at this time when Vince decided to transition the WWF into a staple of cable television through the debut of Monday Night Raw.
This is important.
Okay.
Ever since the popularization
Hey, brother!
in American society, professional wrestling has always had its place on TV, but never to the extent of what Monday Night Raw sought to accomplish. Prior to Raw, the primary role of wrestling on TV was to stimulate interest for live shows or pay-per-views. Wrestling programming at this time was supplemental, and mostly involved recapping
Okay,
old
can you
events
pause for a
and
second?
promoting new ones. You would
Yes. What's up?
Can we just take a moment to appreciate that we had Randy Savage?
Yes.
We had that man.
That-
I'm just glad we had him.
A true American hero.
I really do miss him.
Yeah, brother.
He was, yeah, and what's even worse, he'd gotten a new wife, and like he seemed to be doing really well, and then he died in a car crash. It's sad, man.
That sucks. I did not know that.
I would love to meet that guy. His energy was insane.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, bet.
Hold on. And play.
hardly ever see any high-profile or interesting wrestling matches televised during the show, as the intrigue was reserved for more important events.
You ripped off his shirt.
Monday Night Raw changed all
yeah.
that by broadcasting new matches and progressing the story every Monday night on the USA Network. Before Raw, pro wrestling was limited in its storytelling capabilities, as most of the time the audience would only be aware of the narrative and characters through a handful of pay-per-view events each year. Raw greatly expanded the capacity for storytelling in the WWF, as the audience could now tune into new developments on a weekly basis. The foundation had been set for one of the most innovative and unique television programs in the world, but it would take an entirely separate force to truly take Raw to the next level. Today, the WWF is now the WWE, and it's the only major wrestling promotion in America. the 90s, however, there was another. WCW was a wrestling promotion largely based in the South, and by the 1990s, it was the only major wrestling promotion in America that Vince had failed to conquer. The company was largely helped by the endorsement of media mogul Ted Turner, a longtime wrestling fan who supported WCW by airing its programming on the Turner family of networks. In the early 90s,
Okay,
WCW
pause.
quickly became a popular alternative.
Pausing.
So, fun fact about So you saw that it was TNT?
Uh-huh.
Sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's the same place that AEW is airing today.
And that's not Vince. It's completely
that's not
different.
Vince. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ted Turner's still in charge, but it's the same network. Just funny thing I thought I'd bring up.
No, it is interesting.
Alternative to the WWF, due in large part to signing some of the WWF's older and more established talent. In 1995, a Turner Network executive by the name of Eric Bischoff decided the time was right to challenge the WWF's throne as the #1 wrestling company in America. On September 4th, 1995, WCW would launch Monday Nitro, their own weekly block of wrestling entertainment on TNT. Nitro would go on to compete head-to-head with Raw, occupying the same primetime time slot.
Oh, jeez.
Starting in 1996, Nitro would overtake Raw in television
Look at those
viewership,
numbers.
beginning an 84-week-long streak
The numbers don't
of
lie.
WCW dominance. In the midst of Nitro's prolonged period of success over Raw, Vince McMahon knew that his company was now in jeopardy. More and more of the WWF's high-end talent were jumping ship to WCW, leaving Raw stuck with a cast of unpopular and unproven faces. So when faced with such stiff competition, Vince did what any other monarch would do when his empire is threatened: go to war.
You want to go to war? You want a war? You're going to
One.
get one.
It has been said that anything can happen here in the World Wrestling Federation, but now more than ever, truer words have never been spoken.
Cultural context.
You don't see knives, you don't see guns, you don't see rapes, you don't see anything at all like that that's portrayed in anything that we do. It's a very wholesome, family-oriented environment.
WWF wrestling in the 80s and early 90s was largely a reflection of American culture at the time. It had a deceptively sanitized exterior of traditional family values that was masking a grotesque underbelly of steroids, cocaine, and painkillers. You had the bleached blonde hero Hulk Hogan patriotically leg-dropping America's nefarious foreign adversaries. By the mid-90s, a lot of people in America began to see through the facade, which gave rise to a huge movement of counterculture.
Burt Cobain.
All of a sudden, you had the American hero Hulk Hogan dyeing his beard black, smoking cigars, and beating up good guys on WCW, and people loved it. Vince could see the tide of American culture turning, and he knew that if he wanted to save his empire, he was going to have to get edgy. What transpired was one of the most awe-inspiring 2 years in the history of American television, with Monday Night Raw and WCW Nitro
80-year-old woman.
constantly trying to outdo each other for a share of
Oh.
the American TV audience.
That's Mae Young.
Is a dead man walking, because when Austin
316
meets
Pillman. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Barney Pillman.
Seinfeld and Friends were both trying to put each other out of business, as members of each cast would constantly swap back and forth between each show. This is what it must have been like to watch professional wrestling during this era. I could list off a compilation of all the outrageous and incredible events that were transpiring between the companies on a weekly basis. But to truly grasp the absolute madness of this time, I only need to show you one moment from one episode of Monday Night Raw. But before you can truly know the significance of this moment, I've got some explaining to do. First and foremost, every good story needs a good protagonist. So let's talk about Mick Foley. When you picture a professional wrestler in your head, you probably don't picture a guy like Mick Foley. Mick Foley's pear-shaped physique physique hardly resembles the tall, chiseled muscle men that are common in the WWE.
He's a chunky boy.
Mick Foley doesn't have the freakish size, Herculean strength, or Olympic athleticism to draw an audience. The reason wrestling fans watch Mick Foley is to watch him get hurt. By all measures, Mick Foley is simply not talented enough to earn a share of the pro wrestling spotlight. To compensate for this, he sacrifices his own body through some of the most death-defying
Yeah, I mean, it may be
He lost
fake.
his ear in that.
ever seen.
What?
Perhaps
It may be fake, but they still get hurt.
in 1998
Yeah,
during
look,
the
right there,
second ever
he
Hell in a
legit
Cell
lost
match.
his
In this
ear.
match,
Yeah,
Motherfucker lost his ear.
as
I believe it.
Mankind, just one of his 3 different wrestling personas. Mankind is supposed to be this disfigured, gremlin-like guy who lives in the boiler room beneath the arena. He finishes off his opponents by suffocating them with a dirty sock. He's completely insane. In this match, Mankind is fighting the Undertaker. The Undertaker is one of the most legendary and recognizable wrestlers of all time. It's difficult to get wrestling fans to agree on anything, but even the most jaded ones will act giddy upon hearing the sound of the Undertaker's iconic dong. The popularity of The Undertaker is difficult to describe for anyone who's not a fan of professional wrestling, and I'm not going to try to explain it now, but maybe Justin Wang from the YouTube channel Wang can, since, you know, he kind of looks like The Undertaker.
The Undertaker is hands down the greatest character in the history of WWE. He debuts at a time when Vince is going crazy, throwing all kinds of different gimmicks against the wall. Literally shares his first pay-per-view appearance with a guy in a giant turkey costume. But unlike the Garbage Man, who for some reason also wrestles, or the Plumber, who for some reason also wrestles, the Undead
I'm the
Zombie,
Trash
who
Man.
for some reason also wrestles, had way more staying power. The Undertaker very quickly becomes a fan favorite and maintains that status for almost 30 years. He continually reinvents himself over the course of those 30 years and eventually becomes the unbeatable final boss of WrestleMania, except for that time he got beaten. But it's actually kind of a good thing that he got beaten, because to pigeonhole him as the WrestleMania guy minimizes everything else that he's accomplished in his career.
Thanks, Justin. I'm not going to get too much into The Undertaker right now because he doesn't really play a role in the Raw moment I'm discussing. But he was involved in Mick Foley's most recognizable moment ever by throwing Mankind off the top of the cell with thousands of stunned spectators. Mick Foley's 280-pound body plummeted from the height of a 2-story building and splashed down on the announcer table below. No one had ever seen anything like it. The following shots of Mick Foley show medical personnel surrounding him and lifting his limp body onto a stretcher. At this point, any fan watching would have walked away completely satisfied with the effort that Mick had already put into this one stunt. About 5 minutes later, this happened.
Hell in a Cell match. Are you kidding me? He wants to go back up. Mankind is going back up. No way.
He had to edit it like this to avoid copyright.
Yeah, it's rough. Oh! Good God!
Shortly
I
after
love
this,
JR.
Mick Foley can be seen, somehow still conscious, sitting up in the ring corner with his tooth in his nostril.
Oh!
He then wrestled The Undertaker for about 10 more minutes,
Yikes.
where he eventually got choke-slammed onto a pile of thumbtacks.
Why? Why?
The Undertaker won this match, but Mick
No
Foley's
shit.
That's bad.
superhuman resilience to pain had won the hearts of the WWF fans.
Oh my goodness.
Naturally, this match instantly cemented Mick Foley as a legend in the pro wrestling universe, and as a fan favorite. And even though he won the admiration
As
of
it
the
should.
audience, he never quite seemed like a guy who was supposed to win a lot of matches. And most importantly, never did anyone truly believe that Mick Foley could become the WWF champion.
You gotta be a champion.
So what's the point of watching big,
The
strong
Chad of
dudes
wrestling.
throw each other off the tops of buildings? Well, the goal of
'Cause big men fall down.
and legitimate athletic competition only then do the winningest wrestlers have an opportunity to fight for the WWF Championship. Becoming the champion is not just the ultimate goal for the characters in the storyline. It is also the ultimate sign of validation for a wrestler's real-life career. The fundamental foundation of every wrestling narrative is watching guys fight to become the champion.
Pausing real quick.
Wrestlers will each fight.
Oh, what happened?
I'm just saying, like, he was making it very clear. EMP Lemon was making it very clear that, you know, the championship belt is very important for the characters in every match. So doesn't that mean that each match was kind of like, okay, this season or this time John Cena's gonna win, so it's like already predetermined?
Not necessarily. And also, here's the other thing about belts. They also matter for the performer, because you have to be trusted as both performer and a backstage person, as like a reliable persona and performer, to be given the opportunity to, you know, hold the belt. So when a wrestler wins a belt, it's kind of like, you know, it's like an acknowledgement of their skills, of how far they come, the fact that the guys in the back, you know, they respect him, they want to put him, they want to take him somewhere. It means something to them, you know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like in like mixed martial arts where they're actually fighting each other, where, you know, the most skilled fighter actually wins against someone who is less skilled than them, because, you know, the octagon fights with Mayweather and shit, that shit's real fighting. This is technically not real fighting. So what I mean is, like, there is a determined winner with all the things that you mentioned. There's a determined winner for each match. When with mixed martial arts, it's the winner is shown at the end of the fight.
Yes.
Okay. So interesting. I like this video. Is interesting.
Yeah, and the other thing is also, you don't just get more reliance from just going out there. You also have to get reliance from, you know, how you build off the audience, how you build your character and your persona,
right?
How well you do out there. Like, if you don't do in wrestling, a botch is when you mess up something, or like mess up a move or something, and it can be hilarious sometimes, but in general, you want to try and keep it as stable as possible. You don't want to like injure anybody. You want to keep things consistent, and that's what builds it, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
All right,
good. Fight.
Back to the video.
Of a championship, but no title is more coveted and more prestigious than the WWF Heavyweight Championship. Historically, the WWF title has been reserved for only the biggest, most popular attraction in the company.
The Chonkers.
The WWF champion,
they're so big.
You become the face of the company. Usually, the championship only changes hands once, maybe twice a year. So whenever it happens, it's a pretty big deal. And on the January 4th, 1999 episode of Raw, Mankind found himself with an opportunity to win the WWF Championship. This is the essence of his hero's journey. But every hero needs a good villain. And the villain of this story just so happens to be the guy Mick Foley is facing for the championship. A man who many of you already know.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
I thought
shit.
I thought Mankind was the villain.
No, Mankind's the hero.
Oh, okay.
Today, The Rock is one of the most recognized Hollywood actors on the planet. Although many people would agree that he makes a much better celebrity than an actor.
That's really true. He's funny though.
Ultimately forgettable action flicks.
I like The Rock.
The Rock's widespread fame today may raise the question of how he got popular in the first place. You see,
'cause he's
20 years
handsome.
ago, The Rock burst onto the pop culture scene as a wrestling god. To this day, no one wrestler has ever been able to hold the audience in the palm of his hand quite like The Rock could.
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson is a fantastic entertainer.
When The Rock first debuted in the WWF, he was hated. The Rock didn't start off as the wisecracking, smack-talking, one-liner dropping legend that many of you know him as today. He was a bland, dopey-looking
Look at him!
Rocky Maivia.
He's so small!
He would stand in the middle of the ring and smile like a goober. This was a character that may WWF fans
We have to rebel.
passion, and they would
We
shout
don't need no education.
boos while chanting "Die, Rocky, die." Eventually, it became clear that the only way for Rocky Maivia to stop getting pushed around by the crowd was to push back. And on one fateful day, The Rock was born.
I got 3 words. Die, Rocky, die.
Rocky die.
That's the gratitude I get from you pieces of crap.
Over the next 2 years, The Rock would transform into one of the most smarmy villains in the company, becoming such a good heel that, ironically, the audience had no choice but to love him. In 1998, The Rock would align himself with Vince McMahon and the corporation to cheat to win the WWF Championship, commencing his new reign as the corporate champion. In order to become the champion, Mankind would have to go through not just The Rock, but the squad of goons in Vince McMahon's corporate stable.
Oh,
The
jeez.
deck seemed stacked against him. At least it was until he got a little help from Triple H.
Triple H.
Triple H may be one of the most interesting
Look at those
wrestlers of all
shoulders.
time, not for what he's done inside of the ring, but for what he's done outside of it. Triple H started off as just another no-name wrestler in the mid-90s. He is now one of the top executives in the WWE. His real-life rise to power within the company is most likely due to his marriage with Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon's daughter and heir to the WWE throne. I would go more into Triple H, but this video by screenwriter Max Landis explains his career better than I ever could. All you need to know for our story is that Triple H is the leader of a faction called D-Generation X.
I like that. Just suck your dick.
If you
True.
happen to be working at the Standards and Practices Department for the USA Network from 1997 to 2000, the
Censor.
mere mention of the letters DX will probably give you a PTSD flashback. Seemingly every week, DX would invent new ways to joke about their penises. They spent
Mike Tyson.
every moment on screen
Mike
basically
Tyson.
acting as raunchy as possible. They also popularized the crotch chop 10 years before Waluigi did
Okay,
it.
hold
One
on.
time,
Stop.
the
Pause for a
member
second.
DX
No
wrote,
way. What? What's up?
I just wanted to mention a DX moment. So, there's actually one time where I don't have time to show it, but like, so there's like a female person in the crowd, and like Triple H like goes over and is like, "Hey, show us your tits." He doesn't say that exactly, but he's like, you know, take it off, and she shows like her bra, and then he's like, nah, a whole thing, and she does it.
What?
That's just one of the examples of the genius of them.
Damn. That's funny.
Yeah. All right, back to the vid.
Play.
a literal tank to the front door of WCW Nitro just to stick it to their competition. But if there's one thing Triple H and DX hated more than WCW, it's authority. Hey, wait a minute. Anyway, whenever McMahon's ruthless corporation would attack a defenseless wrestler, DX would seemingly always be there to level the playing field. And that's exactly what happened in Mankind's championship match versus The Rock. We enter a scene of utter chaos, as the audience anxiously waits on pins and needles, anticipating if Mankind can do the unthinkable and win the WWF title. And that's when they hear the all-too-familiar sound. At this moment, the roof of the arena is about to become unhinged from the surprise return of Stone Cold Steve
Stone
Austin.
Cold.
Oh, is that what Constant was talking about?
Yeah. This man.
I understand reference.
Stone
You can talk
Cold
about
Steve
your...
Austin may be the most popular wrestler of all time, even more so than Hulk Hogan. But he, like many other wrestlers I've
Your
talked
ass.
about here, came from humble
I'm sorry,
beginnings.
Constant. I tried to read that and then my brain shut down.
Average and forgettable
But I read that in my
wrestler
head,
in the
and
mid-90s.
yes,
In
I agree.
1995, WCW unceremoniously fired Austin while he was out of action with an injury.
It was me,
But
Austin.
things couldn't get bad enough for Steve. This was also the time when he went completely bald. And when a man has lost his hair, he has nothing left to lose. Steve Austin would join the WWF
True.
with a vengeance. He cultivated the anger from his WCW firing and adopted it into a stone cold new persona.
I'm gonna open up a can of whoop ass on you. Was that him? Is that where that came from?
Beat up everyone
Yeah.
and everything.
Nice.
He was the consummate anti-hero,
Jeez.
constantly interrupting matches to beat people up for literally no reason. These antics made him popular for sure, but he would only attained legendary stardom through his feud
Okay, I'm pausing the video right there. Look at that. Look at that shadow on his head.
Which oh,
I
yeah,
thought
it's from the turnbuckle.
I thought that his head was collapsed for a second.
Nah, it's the turnbuckle. It's definitely the turnbuckle.
Yeah, but I was like, oh shit.
You can talk about your Psalms and your John 3:16. Well, Austin 3:16 says, "I just whooped your ass."
It was me,
He
Austin.
did that after he had.
That's a pretty
It was
good.
me all along.
That's a pretty good line. I like that.
McMahon. Those of you unfamiliar with wrestling may have been confused earlier in this video when I mentioned that The Rock teamed up with Vince McMahon. Why is the owner of the WWF recruiting a stable of bad guys to beat up other wrestlers in his company?
Because of Austin.
Unlike most billionaire CEOs, Vince McMahon is deeply passionate about the product he's selling. And he is willing to put his own ass in the ring and get beat up by his own employees as long as
Too bad he's had a lot of real life
Even
shady
past
business
the
practices and is kind of a dick.
Vince is still occasionally willing to step in the ring and take a top rope frog splash from a 266-pound fat guy.
Oh.
Back in the 90s,
Oh.
when the WWF was in serious danger of going under, Vince took it upon himself to do whatever was necessary to save his company, going so far as to abandon his casual role as a commentator and quickly transform himself into the most despicable villain in all of wrestling.
That's kind of. I'm gonna pause for a second and talk about that. That's kind of a like a 5-head move right there. Like, you're the owner of the company, right? You're the owner of the company. You want your image to be as good as it can be, you know, on stage and off. Yet,
So you sell yourself as an absolute just asshole boss.
yeah, like every interview where he is, you know, obviously playing a character, every time he's on stage, you know, he's just so awful, and you just want to kill him. It's just,
He's the definition of ego-driven.
yeah, it like on stage and off, it kind of affected him in real life too. But that's such a 5-head move. Like,
It really is.
I'll make them hate me, so that they'll love me even more.
Okay, you want to know something? You want a little bit of history, actually?
Yes.
So one of the first big heels was this guy called Gorgeous George. He was in the 50s, and he was a huge influence in the wrestling. He was huge in getting it popular on cable television. He was instrumental in gaining heat, and he once told a 19-year-old Muhammad Ali, "A lot of people will pay to see someone shut your mouth," and I have never heard better words in my life. A lot of people will pay to see someone shut your mouth. That is genius, right? And it's so true. I mean, like, wouldn't you pay to see like your bully get like beat up by anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Basically,
would.
that's what. Yeah.
That is pretty smart. Okay.
And heels are really, it's one of the best things in wrestling. It really is.
Okay, play.
It's happening. So I was sitting in my cubicle today and I realized ever since I started working, every single day of my life has been worse than the day before it.
I can't imagine having a cubicle
So that
job.
means that every single day that you see me, that's on the worst day of my life.
The 90s ushered in a period of sterile corporatization for the American worker. This was a time when most Americans had fallen out of faith with the government, but still somewhat trusted their corporate overlords. A time before companies like Enron and the big banks royally screwed up and put the world economy on a downward spiral.
That man's face,
A time before the internet
he
transformed
chose
paradise
to look
was
like
thought
that.
possible for earning a paycheck. Most Americans entering the workforce at this time were left with one option. You would spend all your daylight hours, Monday through Friday, working in a cubicle under oppressive fluorescent lighting. And you were expected to do this week in and week out for 40 years.
I can't imagine.
Naturally, a lot of workers weren't exactly thrilled with this reality. Vince McMahon must have known this because starting in 1998, he transformed himself into the living embodiment of everything Americans hated about their corporate world. And for every ounce of hatred projected on Vince, Americans found an equal amount of catharsis in watching Stone Cold Steve Austin repeatedly beat the piss out of him on national TV. The Austin-McMahon feud escalated throughout the entire year, and it catapulted Austin into mainstream stardom. Steve Austin did on a weekly basis what every layperson in America wishes they could have done to their bosses, teachers, or any other oppressive authority figure that separated them from what they wanted. He represents something universal about the human spirit, the desire to fight back against those who control you, the constant dream of capturing your own slice of agency. Stone Cold Steve Austin is a man who cannot be controlled, because the second you try, he'll blow up your bus, fill your car with cement, and spray you with beer from a fire hose. And most importantly, he'll give the people what they want.
Listen to that pop.
Nice.
A pop is like how many people are cheering in wrestling.
It really sucks that they had to edit it like this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a hot take. Fuck copyright law.
Many wrestling historians
or at least the
like to point
stupid
to
parts
this
about it.
moment as the loudest crowd reaction in WWE history. I guess ultimately that's the whole point of all of this. To give people a window into a different world. A world where you could truly believe the unbelievable. A world where valiant heroes could overcome seemingly impossible odds. And where despicable villains would always be brought to justice. Eventually.
Oh, that brings up a good point, by the way. Pause.
And many Americans did.
Yep.
So, one thing that's, and other people have pointed this out, one of the interesting things about wrestling is that, like, with most movies or TV shows or comics, there's usually, like, an end to the story. And there's ends to stories in wrestling, but what's interesting is that, like, overall, it's an open book. It just keeps on going and going and going because new wrestlers come in, new storylines are made, the characters might change, the people who are playing the characters might change, and that's another interesting. Sometimes it blurs the lines a little bit because maybe someone's character is part of them, or it's just them like cranked up to 20, or maybe like real life events are used as inspiration. They're like, I suffered through drug problems, I suffered through my house burning down, and now I'm gonna do it for my kids, like that kind of thing.
For sure.
So it's kind of a blurred line almost.
Yeah.
And it never really ends because the stories are really the stories end, but the amount of stories happening basically don't end. It's like a cinematic universe, but nothing's like super connected, if that makes any sense.
I get it, yeah. Yeah.
Alright.
It's kind of like how fucking... Did you watch Pokemon as a kid?
I watched Pokemon.
Did you ever wonder when the fucking to be continued sign at the end of every episode would be like the end?
It'll never end because Pokemon, they realize that they can make a shit ton of money off of the anime.
I know, but I was always, when I would watch an episode and I would get to the end and it would freeze frame and then at the bottom it would say to be continued. I'm like, I wonder if it's ever going to say the end one day.
I never
and
thought
it
of
never
that, actually.
did. It never said the end.
You were more 5-head than me when you thought of
It's like, I wonder if this shit's going to end, and about 12 years later, it's like, nope. Absolutely
we
not.
still going, motherfucker. Choo choo, bitch. Grab your orange juice and your popcorn, because we ain't leaving.
We ain't coming. Yes, okay. 3, 2, 1, play.
Even if it was just for 2 hours a week on a Monday night. Wrestling historians also like to point to this event as the moment where WWF surpassed WCW
Look at the numbers.
as the premier
They don't lie.
in America. Over on TNT, the Nitro commentators intentionally spoiled the ending of that night's Raw ahead of time.
Oh, what a...
We're even thinking about changing the channel to our competition. Fans do not, because we understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title.
Oh, what a dick move.
Spectacularly.
And it paid
600,000 Nitro viewers immediately changed the channel to Raw to witness one of the greatest moments in professional wrestling history. Conversely, those who kept watching Nitro that night got to witness one of the most anticlimactic and frustrating moments in wrestling history. as the despicable villain Hollywood Hogan reclaimed the WCW Championship after his so-called opponent Kevin Nash literally laid down and gave it to him. 2 years later, WCW would go out of business, and Vince would finally achieve his goal of conquering the last major American wrestling promotion by acquiring WCW for pennies on the dollar. Right after the WCW commentators spoiled the end of Raw that night, Tony Schiavone infamously mocked the idea of Mankind winning the WWF title by sarcastically commenting,
Gonna put some butts in the seat.
Technically, he was correct in his snide assessment, because no one was sitting down in the Centrum Center as the referee counted to 3 on Mankind's first ever championship victory.
He was right about that, at least.
Monday Night Raw is still on the air today. WWE and wrestling as a whole have largely diminished in popularity since this time. It's a decline brought about not from what's different in the ring, but rather how the world has changed around it. And for this reason, WWE may never again be able to replicate a moment of this spectacle, but nothing else on TV really could either. The pure hype of the crowd surrounding the ring that night is something truly unique about professional wrestling. There's a visceral, palpitating feeling of unbridled excitement that permeates through whatever screen you're watching it on, even 20 years later. The cascading wave of emotion on display here is, quite simply, raw. And you'd be hard-pressed to replicate something like this with any other TV show. Not bad for something that's not even real. This is the end of just another episode of Monday Night Raw. There are more than 1,300 other episodes like it, and counting. So if you find yourself bored on a Monday night flipping through channels on TV, and you happen to catch a glimpse of a bunch of weird-looking muscle men brawling on the USA Network, you can stop and appreciate it, because there will never ever be another TV show like it.
Cool. That was interesting. I like that. That was a well, with what he had to do with editing. That was well done, and I liked it.
Yeah. You liked it?
I did.
I'm glad you liked it.
Not sure.
Any closing thoughts?
I think that I am going to go check out some episodes.
Check out some episodes of Raw?
Of Monday Night Raw. I think I will. I'll do that when I have the chance.
If you want to, I can actually compile you some episodes that I know are pretty good.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and also, okay, here's the thing though. Okay, have you heard of the WWE Network?
I believe so, yes.
It's a subscription service WWE has. It has literally like most of literally every single episode of Raw that you would want, basically, right on there. And it's like, how much is it? I think it's like, hold on, how much is WWE Network? It's $9.99. I don't know if you can afford that.
Not right now.
Okay, well, if you ever want,
at least
you can probably find them another way if you tried.
Probably. Maybe I'll just look up compilations of the best moments and stuff.
Okay, you know what? I might just find some for you because I know some pretty good ones. I don't need to brag.
Cool. Well, that's the stream. Sorry if it was no offense to you, Hoss. I just sorry if it was a
very low key.
A little slow, yeah, low key. Some might even say boring.
But, it's the first episode. It's like, it's kind of like a molasses. You gotta let it.
Yeah.
Okay, bad comparison, but you know what I mean. It's slow. We'll figure it out.
Not sure if I'll upload this on the YouTube, but I'll definitely highlight it so it stays on the Twitch.
Nice.
I just want to.
I'm gonna be in the YouTube thumbnail.
I just want to point out what Toxicity Bungus was talking about. I was playing my BRBs, the stuff from the just highlights of the Twitch. And I'm not stone cold. I have a heart that beats and a heart that gets hurt. I'm gonna be honest. Being told that I'm not funny, even by one person, it's like, well, shit. What can I do? But then you got to remember, you're never, no content creator ever in existence is ever going to be liked by everybody. Even people hate Markiplier, the most wholesome YouTuber on the platform. People hate him.
Yeah. If it makes you feel any better, I like you. I think you're funny.
Well, I appreciate that. I just wanted to bring, no hate to Bungus. He seems okay. He seems like an okay guy. He's a Wubby sub. So am I. So is Constant. If he was able to maybe give constructive feedback instead of just saying you're not funny, I wouldn't have felt weird about it. But I'm gonna keep doing what I like to do, and that's this. And I know that there are going to be people that are not going to like it. And hey, guess what? There are hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands other streamers that you could go watch instead of me. So do that if my content is not for you. So thank you everybody for joining today. I will be back Monday for Star Wars Monday. We're going to be playing some probably some.
Hold on, one more thing. Just one last question.
What's up?
Did Icebreakers call you a dog ass yet?
No, definitely not.
Shit, man. All right, well, later, guys. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Thank you,
Thank you, everybody, for the... Oh, Constant. Thank you for the $2 of Cummies.
Constant_K donated $2.
Yo, $2 Cummy. Damn.
Thank you, Constant.
Is that Nick Cage?
It's Nick Cage's face on Rick Astley. Yes, it is.
Ew.
Yeah,
you're evil.
I know. All right, I'll see you guys Monday for Star Wars Monday. We're gonna be playing some older Star Wars games. Thank you, Hoss, so much for being a part of this. Hoss will be joining us next Saturday. Maybe we can get Zach in here and we can have some fun with that.
I really hope we can, because that'll be the best shit
that
ever.
That would be really funny. We could do some games and stuff. I don't know how content creation works. I've only been doing it for about a year now. So
Bye Stinky. Bye Carpo.
See you, Carpo. Who should we raid? Who should I raid? Little Aggie is live. He's my favorite speedrunner. Let's go show him some love.
Can I recommend someone to you?
Well, maybe next time, but you can tell me. But I need to tune into Aggie.
Because what I had an idea of, let's just raid the same person.
Oh, okay.
That'd be just hilarious. 2 back-to-back raids. That'd be insane.
Okay. So I'm choosing to raid Lil Aggie tonight. LILAGGY. He's a speedrunner. He's doing Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, any percent speedruns. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Constant, for the $2. Constant, I just want to look you in the eye right now, and I want to say how much I appreciate you as a person, as a viewer, as a friend, as a mod. You're the best. You and Bradley are awesome. Hoss,
all right, how do you spell his name? Thank you. How do you spell his name? What the hell?
Sorry, it's an alarm.
Okay. Why is my alarm going off?
It's an alarm.
How do you spell his name?
Lil, LILAGGY. Constant, I love you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys Monday. Have a good night. I had a good time. And if I have a good time, I hope you have a good time. Hoss, thank you again.
Don't mention it, brother.
I'll see you guys for Star Wars Monday. Peace. This concludes this episode of the BingCast. I'll see you guys. I'll see everybody who wants to watch
Thank you
the next
for coming
one.
to the BingCast. That'll be our outro now. Me just beatbox and saying. Fuck yeah. Thank you for coming to the BingCast. Thank you for coming to the BingCast. Thank you for coming to the BingCast. Now go and watch some hentai.
Deal.